Yo, what's going on, everyone? It's your boy DLloyd, and we are here with another episode of the DLloyd NBA Podcast. Of course, we have a lot of things to talk about over the weekend. A lot of things have happened, especially a ton of signings. But we're also going to be talking about Devin Booker a little bit more in detail in his new contract extension, Carmelo Anthony, and which team he will end up signing with. We're also going to be talking about Jabari Parker and some pretty interesting news that happened over the weekend that happened pretty silently, and Rajon Rondo, how he feels that the Lakers will crack the code to be able to beat the Golden State Warriors. But first, like I said, we're going to go ahead and recap some of the signings that happened over the weekend. Now, Brook Lopez, he decided to leave the Los Angeles Lakers, and he has signed a one-year, $3.4 million contract with the Milwaukee Bucks. That's right. I thought he'll end up going back to LA. I knew the market wasn't too high. I knew he'll be getting paid a little bit less money. I was expecting probably the veteran minimum, but he got a little bit more than that. He got $3.4 million with Milwaukee. I think that's a pretty decent signing for him. I think it's a pretty decent signing for Milwaukee. They needed another big man. They got one. He can stretch the floor a little bit more, and I think it's an okay signing for the Milwaukee Bucks, grabbing Brook Lopez on a one-year deal worth $3.4 million. Now, one that happened at the beginning of the weekend, we have the Chicago Bulls and them matching Zach LaVine's offer sheet from the Sacramento Kings that was worth 4 years, over $80 million. Now, this one, I posted a poll up in the post, and a lot of you guys, I think it was 67% that said they agreed with Chicago doing this deal. Now, I am very, very indifferent about this. Zach LaVine is one of those guys. He has potential, hasn't really showed it all the time, and you don't really know exactly what you're going to get. So making a 4-year, $80 million investment in Zach LaVine, you're essentially paying for the potential. You're paying that hopefully he can become that guy. You're paying that hopefully he could start attracting other players there, because Zach LaVine currently, in my opinion, is now worth $20 million a season. So you have to hope he does improve. You have to hope he does a little bit better. I like Zach LaVine. $20 million a year, especially when you've seen some of these other guys signing for in the teens, some players signing for less than that. I'm not quite sure Zach LaVine is worth that amount of money, so it will be tough to see what the Bulls do. But the problem they have right now is they're not attracting a lot of free agents. So if you're not attracting a lot of free agents, you need to have somebody there and somebody to build around. Yes, you have marketing. Of course, he's on his rookie contract. He's not getting paid a lot of money. Zach LaVine, the only logical option, I guess, at this point. And we knew the Sacramento Kings would throw a wrench on somebody's plans. We knew that they had money, and they were going to offer some of these restricted free agents some money, and that's going to force a team to really make a decision at that point. The Bulls, they had 48 hours once the Kings submitted that offer sheet. He signed it. They only had 48 hours to do it. Chicago really had to play their hand at that point, and they decided to go ahead and match it. So they will be bringing them back 4 years, about $80 million. Like I said, definitely a little bit risky, but you have to pay it if you do believe that Zach LaVine could become anything close to what you think he can become. You have to pay that amount of money, and they definitely did pay that amount of money. So Zach LaVine, he is returning to the Chicago Bulls, 4-year, $80 million. You guys let me know how you guys feel about that contract in the comment section below. But also, we're going to be talking about Devin Booker. He got paid a little bit more money than Zach LaVine. 5 years, $158 million contract extension. Yes, that is the maximum contract extension that Devin Booker could have signed, and he was able to land that with the Phoenix Suns. We heard some rumblings that he could have been a little upset with the organization because they released his good friend in Tyler Ulis, who they went to school together, but he ended up signing 5 years, $158 million. Now, we do know Devin Booker could be a potential star in this league. Yes, his defense could, use a little bit of help, but he's a fantastic scorer. He's a young guy, 21 years old, getting paid over $30 million per season. That is a lot of money for a player like Devin Booker, but Devin Booker could definitely rise to the occasion at times. He's definitely the guy they're already building around. You already know this by the way they've been moving, and they're allowing him to have some, say in some of the roster decisions that they end up making, in front office decisions that they make. So they definitely trust Devin Booker. We've seen this coming. We didn't know exactly how much it was going to be, but it ended up being the maximum. 5 years, $158 million for Devin Booker. For the Phoenix Suns, they have an extremely young roster there. Devin Booker, you have Josh Jackson there. Of course, you've got DeAndre Ayton, who's been looking pretty good in Summer League. Not quite the best player out there out of all the rookies, but he's been playing pretty good so far in Summer League. You can't really have any issues with DeAndre Ayton, especially at this point. Point guard situation, yes, they need to address that at some point, but you do have a solid foundation with Devin Booker and the Phoenix Suns. You can see now they are clearly trying to build something there. So Devin Booker, he feels comfortable now signing that 5-year deal worth $158 million. He said before that he does not want to make the playoffs again. The Phoenix Suns, are they playoff ready right now? No, I wouldn't say they're playoff ready as of right now. But you do see a couple more seasons playing together, getting that chemistry together. I think they could be very, very talented. You add a couple more pieces. Yes, they added a Trevor Ariza. I don't think he really puts them over the top right now, but he does bring a veteran presence. You add some more pieces to that eventually. I do think the Phoenix Suns are building something where they can be playoff contenders. I don't ever see them being finals contenders, but they can be some playoff contenders. So I do like the moves they are making. But Devin Booker, that's their franchise guy, and they made sure they went ahead and locked him up. 5 years, $158 million for Devin Booker. I don't think it's that bad. But staying with the Phoenix Suns, and I said that I think they need to bring in another player. Well, over the weekend, they may have made a phone call to the Cleveland Cavaliers and just inquired about Kevin Love. Now, it really did not last long at all. For Kevin Love and the Cavs aren't actively shopping Kevin Love. They're not calling teams and putting them out there, but they're not hanging up the phone when teams call for Kevin Love. So the Phoenix Suns, from what I'm hearing, they actually put in that phone call. They called for Kevin Love. And the Cleveland Cavaliers, they wanted Josh Jackson and a little bit more in return. So, of course, that phone call really didn't last too long. But you do see the Suns, still trying to get some extra pieces there and seeing what they can get. For the Cleveland Cavaliers, we don't really know exactly what situation they are in. Of course, if you do get rid of Kevin Love, you do want a young guy. So they did the right thing for at least asking for Josh Jackson, because you want to make sure you get somebody young and maybe get some draft picks, because if you trade Kevin Love, you're clearly in a rebuild situation. I think they're in a rebuild situation now, but if you get rid of Kevin Love, you are 100% in a rebuild situation. So both parties did the right thing. The Suns, they're just calling a couple teams, seeing if they could land somebody to help this roster right now, because they do kind of want to win in the next few years. Cleveland, you need to go into rebuilding mode, so you need to get the most you can for some of them older guys that you have on the roster. And the most tradable person, of course, is Kevin Love. Now, speaking about some older players, Carmelo Anthony, he's going to become a free agent at some point this summer, the buyout or however OKC is going to go about getting rid of Carmelo Anthony. That has not happened yet, so he's still technically a member of the Oklahoma City Thunder. We do know he has interest from the Rockets. The Lakers have shown some interest on Carmelo Anthony, and we also have the Miami Heat. Yes, the Miami Heat, they have also shown interest in Carmelo Anthony. Now, over the weekend, there were some reports that the Lakers could be the favorites for Carmelo Anthony. He wants to play with LeBron James. Like I said, he will be, in theory, probably the number 2, maybe the number 3 scoring option for the Lakers in their starting lineup. Yes, you'll still have, some other guys who can come off the bench and score. But for right now, in theory, on paper, Carmelo Anthony, if he goes to the Lakers, that's what he thinks he will end up being. But it looks like Carmelo Anthony's business manager was sitting next to some acquaintances of Mike D'Antoni and Chris Paul during the Summer League on Sunday. And are they getting a little close because Carmelo Anthony could potentially go into Houston? We do not know. We do know Chris Paul right now is advocating that the Rockets go and get his good friend in Carmelo Anthony. We know Melo wanted to go to Houston last season before he eventually got traded to the Oklahoma City Thunder. So that interest is mutual. I think they will both want to go. Now, the hesitancy could be on Melo playing with Mike D'Antoni again. They didn't have the best relationships. And Carmelo Anthony does go to the Houston Rockets. He is clearly the third, maybe even the fourth option there. You might have to give the nod to Clint Capella over Carmelo Anthony. So I don't know how that truly works. Does Carmelo Anthony improve the Houston Rockets? I don't really think so. And it's crazy that I will say this. I don't think Melo really improves the Houston Rockets and their chances of beating the Golden State Warriors. You heard the Golden State Warriors could try to take a shot. I don't see that happening. I don't see Melo and Boogie Cousins teaming up in the same locker room at all. But Carmelo Anthony with the Houston Rockets, It could happen, but like at the same time, like I said, I don't think it really improves the Houston Rockets too much. Carmelo Anthony, he struggled from three. Yes, he made a record amount of threes for himself, career high, but you've seen him in the playoffs. He was essentially just out there, really wasn't really contributing against the Utah Jazz in that series. And he shot, I believe, only 21% from the three-point line, so it really wasn't good at all. So Houston bringing in Carmelo Anthony, they want to get up and down the court. Melo, he's not really the type of guy who's going to get up and down the court. When he gets the ball, he's going to hold the ball. He's not going to move the ball. So I don't think he's a really good fit for Houston. I think the best fit actually could be the Miami Heat, but we'll see what happens with Dwayne Wade. We'll see what happens with the rest of that roster. But Carmelo Anthony could potentially see himself without a job come September when teams start reporting to camp. It may take an injury for a team to take a chance on Carmelo Anthony, or maybe a team just shoots in the dark and takes that opportunity. But Carmelo Anthony isn't going to have a lot of teams lined up to try to get him. And it's crazy because a few years ago, he was a hot commodity, but things definitely changed quickly for Carmelo Anthony. Last season did not help at all. I think it was his worst season in the NBA. But Carmelo Anthony, the favorites right now would appear to be the Houston Rockets. I think that is a possibility of that actually coming to fruition and happening. Is it going to improve the Houston Rockets? I don't believe he does. But you guys, let me know if you guys think Carmelo Anthony does improve the Houston Rockets or not. Now, the next story we're going to be talking about that happened over the weekend, kind of quiet, but we have Jabari Parker. Now, Jabari Parker, we know there's some friction within the organization of Milwaukee. Jabari Parker, he's not getting along with some of the front office members, and we know Jabari Parker definitely has a distaste for Giannis Antetokounmpo. Now, we don't know exactly what caused this friction, but I've been reporting for the past few months with that Jabari Parker feels like this should have been his team. We felt like the Bucks should have been building around Jabari Parker. Of course, he was drafted ahead of Giannis. But then Giannis came in, the Greek freak, he's a freak in nature, especially with his build athletically as well. He came in and he clearly has put his stamp in the NBA. He clearly is the franchise player for the Milwaukee Bucks. I think Jabari Parker is a very, very solid player. I think he has been hindered, of course, because he has not one but two separate ACL tears in just 4 seasons in the NBA. So that definitely affects your value as well, because can you be trusted without being injured? But I think Jabari Parker, a fantastic scorer, a versatile scorer, and he's been adding on to his game throughout the years. I think he is a cornerstone player. I'm not sure if he's a franchise player all the way around, but definitely a great player that almost any team can essentially benefit from having as long as he stays healthy. That is definitely the main issue, because it's his knees going to hold up over the course of his NBA career. 2 ACL tears already. Definitely not the best look. But Giannis, he's definitely been that guy. Jabari Parker has some jealousy towards Giannis. But over the weekend, he kind of silently unfollowed Giannis on Instagram. And then he also unfollowed one of the Milwaukee Bucks' biggest fan pages. He blocked them on Instagram as well. So you knew friction was there, but now he has taken action. Now, of course, the media, we could be looking a little bit into it too much, and it could just be a simple thing. Maybe he's just clearing out some of his socials. Maybe he doesn't want to follow all these people on his social media. But based off the reports that we had before, based off of kind of his actions now, they link up. So I don't think nobody's overlooking this at all. The fact that he is unfollowing Giannis, the fact that he is blocking some of the Milwaukee Bucks fan pages, that is not a good sign. Sign that he wants to leave. He is a restricted free agent, and I don't think he will be here in October. But where is he going to go? Ultimately, the Milwaukee Bucks actually have the final say as to whether or not he could leave, because they could match any offer that is offered to Jabari Parker. They can really do. And they offered him close to $15 million a year before. So they are willing to pay that amount of money. But we'll see if a team will send him an offer sheet that much. You look around, what team could do it? Of course, Sacramento Kings. But teams, I think, are starting to realize, looking at the restricted free agent market now, after the unrestricted guys signed, looking at the restricted free agent market right now, and you're going to start to see that market kind of develop. So some of these restricted free agents out there are going to start to get those offers. Jabari Parker, I think he's one of the next guys in line to get an offer sheet from a team. I think a team will offer him. I can't tell you exactly how much right now because this year's free agent market and the values of players has definitely been fluctuating a lot. But he will get an offer sheet from a team at some point, and that's then going to force the hands of the Milwaukee Bucks. Are they going to go ahead and bring back Jabari Parker? Because if they match that offer sheet, you already know it's going to be multiple seasons. But you can also sign it, bring him back, and then try to trade him. And at that point, you get something back from Jabari Parker instead of allowing him to leave for absolutely nothing. And I think the Milwaukee Bucks, they really have to, talk amongst themselves and figure that part out. I don't see him being a member of the team in October, but whether or not they could try to sign him, whether or not they'll actually let him walk, they could. Especially if Giannis is unhappy, you now have to cater to your star player, and clearly it's Giannis. I know Jabari Parker was drafted number 2 overall. I know he thinks this should be his team, but Giannis, this is his team. Jabari Parker needs to suck it up, and I think he'll be with another team at some point. But you guys let me know how you guys also feel about Jabari Parker. Is he just being kind of a big baby about this whole situation, about him not having his own team? And do you think he could go somewhere where he can have his own team? I think he's a heck of a talent. I think he's a great player. But I don't think there's any question as to who's better, Jabari Parker or Giannis Antetokounmpo. Now, anybody, going on to the next story, we're talking about Rajon Rondo. We're going to talk about the Lakers a little bit as well. Rajon Rondo, who recently signed a one-year $9 million deal with the Los Angeles Lakers, he believes that they are trying to crack the code to beat the Golden State Warriors. Now, there's always a cycle in sports. There's always a cycle where there's an industry standard about how the game is played. This is more than just basketball as well. It works with football, works with all types of sports. But there's always a cycle about the industry standard, essentially. So there was this time where you needed your bigs, and your bigs are dominating down low. And that went through the Shaq era. Then eventually even carried over a little bit, even with the Lakers, with Andrew Bynum. He was helping them out. But there's always a cycle. Then the team, like the Golden State Warriors, decides to break that cycle, and they start thinking, if we don't have the best big man, maybe we could load up a bunch of shooters and we could play small ball. And eventually that started working. And now other teams, like the Houston Rockets, are just stealing the idea from the Golden State Warriors. Yes, Mike D'Antoni, he kind of did the 7-second offense back in the day with the Phoenix Suns. Wasn't really quite ready for prime time to actually step up at that point. Just the players weren't ready for that system. But now looks like the Lakers trying to do something a little bit different. Rondo, he's saying the system is they're trying to put the court with 5 playmakers who play defense, and they're trying to not beat Golden State at their own game, which is a bunch of shooters. Now, will this actually work? I don't really know if it'll work or not, but I do see what the Lakers are trying to do. They're essentially trying to find the weakness of Golden State. Every single system, I don't care who's running the system, who's on the team. Every system has a weakness to a certain point. It is up to the rest of the league to find that one weakness. Most teams right now are trying to just emulate as opposed to trying to find that weakness. So I definitely give credit to the Lakers for attempting to find a way to beat Golden State another way as opposed to beating them at their own game. Because I think at this point, Rondo was right. The Warriors kind of unbeatable at their own game. They have mastered small ball. They have mastered, being able to shoot, screen off ball, get your shooters open, and that play style, they've essentially mastered it. Yes, the closest team, of course, is the Houston Rockets to that system. But for the Lakers, you're not going to get those players in free agency right now that's really going to beat that system. So for you, the best way is to find another way. Now, will this 5 playmaker system work? Like I said, I don't really think so, but we'll see what happens. Anytime you have LeBron James, of course, you have a chance theoretically. But it's a different style of approach. I think it has the potential to work. You're going to have to see how things start playing out and how these games start working, how they start looking. I am excited about some of these rookies that the Lakers have, though. So I do like the roster a little bit more than most people like the roster. I'm not, upset that they got these playmakers. I don't think it'll beat the Warriors. But it's definitely going to be interesting. I think Rondo, Magic, LeBron, they could be on to something here. And we'll see how this plays out this year and, of course, in the future seasons. Now, staying on with the Lakers for our last story, LiAngelo Ball. This guy is not giving up whatsoever. So he was caught on TMZ coming back from the airport. There was, of course, LeVar and Lonzo Ball there as well. They were asking him, is there an opportunity that he could eventually still play with the purple and gold and play for the Los Angeles Lakers? And he responded with, yes, I will, probably later, but I think I will eventually. Now, this is the same player. Now, I'm not trying to be mean. I know a lot of you guys think I am hating on LiAngelo Ball. I'm really not. You hope the best for the guy. I hope he can land somewhere or do whatever he wants in the NBA. But just really just looking at his game, I have to do my responsibility and just be honest. He's not an NBA talent. Simple. He's really not an NBA type of player at all. And just being fair, I wouldn't want him to get an opportunity because of his brother, as opposed to another player who has earned the opportunity to at least get that shot with the Lakers. So he had his workouts, didn't really impress with the Lakers. Had another workout with the Golden State Warriors, didn't really impress with those. Really hasn't impressed too much even when he was playing overseas against the regular teams. He looked great against, the B teams and the 16 and under teams. Looked fantastic against them. Really didn't impress against any professional team at all. I don't think he has the NBA body. Yes, he's bigger, he's lengthy, he's not as athletic as the rest of them. I don't think he's as consistent of a shooter as a lot of people are saying he is. I don't think so either. So I don't think he has that game. Didn't impress any of the workouts. The Lakers told him they are not going to draft him. They also told him he would not be on the Summer League team. So the fact that he's still thinking the Lakers at some point will come back is definitely going to be rough. He has to go the G League route at this point or go back overseas. He has to play professional and play against people where you could truly measure up his talent against other people's talent. So if he does eventually make it to the league, it's not going to be this season because nobody has seen you play against really other NBA talent before. So you have to go some other route. Like I said, overseas to the G League, and you got to ball. You can't be average. You can't be amongst the crowd because if you come, it's going to bring a bunch of baggage. Because LeVar Ball is already saying if he comes to LA and they sign LiAngelo and they signed Lonzo, of course, he said the Lakers are guaranteed to win 2 titles once they sign Jello. And I mean, Jello's not the difference maker if you're winning a championship or not, especially over a team like Golden State. So you bring in more baggage already. You already have LeVar, but you have LeVar times 2 if Jello gets there because now the pressure's going to be for you to sign LaMelo Ball, and eventually you're going to want all 3 of his sons there. So the Lakers are already looking at that. You have to be super talented for the Lakers to really get themselves into that situation. You can't be a regular player. You can't be a fringe player. You got to, for sure, be an NBA talent. And I don't see that from LiAngelo Ball. But props to him. He's not giving up hope. He still, feels that he can do it. And like I said, there are other options for him too. But he just has to prove that he can play on this level. And I think that will be going back overseas to a better league than he was playing in before. Or that will be playing in the G League and seeing what you could do there. But LiAngelo Ball, he says eventually he will be a Laker. I don't agree, but maybe you guys agree. Let me know how you guys feel about that in the comment section below. But that is everything that I have for this show today. Like I said, hit me up in the comment section below. Let me know how you guys feel about some of the stories and the topics that we talked about today. It's your boy DLloyd. Let me see y'all next time. Peace.